So then the question becomes, well, how do we go through this process? How to proceed? And so this is what we have to be careful on in terms of when the decision making requires that we consider only relevant factors. And so this relevant part here is going to be very important because we have to think about, what, you know, so what costs are expected to be incurred or what revenues are going to be earned in the future. So the focus is on the future, well, positively saying revenues to be earned versus future costs to be incurred. And you may remember from managerial accounting, so we need to ignore sunk costs. Those costs are of a past decision. So if we've decided to build a factory and as it turns out, we end up we end up producing a product that is not desired by the market, then we have to ignore that's the case. We ignore that in the decision making about what we do with current production and current organization of our resources. Uh, Locally, you will see many Dairy Queens operating through the summer months. And maybe some of them open up in the spring, but then close by the end of October, early November. Now there are a few in this area that stay open all year, and I don't know if that's a badge of courage or if that's something that uh, is something that they're able to encourage people to eat ice cream on cold days or whatnot. But the decision to stay open, um, there may be some factors that those particular ones uh, value in terms of what they anticipate as far as revenues are concerned, and perhaps just this badge of honor of staying open. But for the ones that close, at least during part of the year, they're ignoring the fact that they have to pay rent on that space. They have to run utilities. Now, probably a marginal amount, probably not a whole lot, but that is something that would need to be considered as far as that's concerned. When we think about whether we want to buy a new piece of equipment, it doesn't matter what the old piece of equipment cost. We have to consider what the benefits are of the new equipment versus the old equipment. And so so as far as the decision to purchase, this is something, this is of course important for businesses, but from an individual standpoint, you have to put what happened in the past in the past. You have to ignore what's happened before in terms of trying to make up for something, because it's not going to be uh, profitable or prudent for you to be able to make sound decisions. So following this ignore sunk costs, the costs also need to be, so are things, are revenues or costs avoidable? So in the next video, we'll get into a little bit more about the distinction between those two.